Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at, or at least referencing, a video that I did recently on the Oscars and Doja Cat and her performance, and a video that I made on that where I explain, and maybe I didn't explain it very clearly, but anyway, I explained that when looking at Doja Cat's lead vocal, she's consistently flat. And when you adjust the instrumentation to 24 cents flat, her vocal now makes a lot more sense because her intervals are solid for that particular change in pitch. So I said in that video that her perception of the pitch was different. And I think some people maybe in the comments section thought that what I was saying was that they changed the pitch either on the desk or through the foldback speakers or monitors. And I wasn't saying that at all, and I don't say that at any point in my video, but maybe people have misinterpreted that. I mean, first of all, to the comments that say you're wrong, or what I was saying was wrong, what I was pointing out in that video is that she was consistently flat by a consistent amount. And my conclusion that I draw from that is that she's not intentionally singing flat, having heard the instrumentation exactly where it is or was, and then choosing to be that amount flat. I said in the video that she's hearing it differently. Her perception of that sound, the sound that she's hearing, is flat. So that's why she's singing there. So the people, first of all, that said, oh, you're wrong, I'm pointing out what I think is the reason behind what we're seeing on the vocal pitch monitor. So I can't be wrong. It's literally impossible for my opinion to be wrong because it's an opinion. We're not matching audio files here when I'm saying that somebody's miming, because here's the audio file in 2015 and here it is again in 2022. That's objective and that's factual, and that's showing the same audio file. And it is true for the people that have commented and might be engineers or technicians and have worked in studios, and to those people that say the sound can't change pitch, absolutely true. That I don't say that in my video, that the pitch of the instrumentation changes during the performance. And for the people that said, oh well, whose fault is this that the pitch changed? It didn't change. The pitch was the pitch, but the perception of pitch was different. So this is what I'm going to be attempting to explain in this video. Hopefully I'll make it clear enough as to why I think this is the case, but also why this happens. Explaining this phenomenon that does happen in live performances and studios, and I know because it's happened to me. So the first thing, and I think maybe I assume that people know this, but obviously a lot of people don't understand this, so hence why I'm doing this follow-up video. So the reason why people can hear things differently at different pitches, even though it's not that pitch, is because of the way that sound works and the way that sound has evolved now and how we hear it. So if you imagine sound, it's traveling through space, an acoustic space. Like in this room, when I'm talking now, the sound is bouncing around in this room. So if you were in this room with me, you would hear the sound exactly as it is, because it's traveling through the air to your ears, and your ears are hearing the sound through the space. And that's how we have developed. That's how we hear sound. It's for directional purposes, so that you can hear where something is. And that's just how we process it. So now, over the last 100 years, maybe more than that, we've had the ability to now hear sound in an alien way. It's because throughout our history we've always heard sound in the environment, whereas now, because of how music has evolved and technology has evolved, we can now hear sound in our ears. So now the source of the sound, the thing creating the sound waves, is now in our ear. It's not over there. Like if we're listening to somebody playing their violin over there, it travels to your ear. Now it's inside your ear, it's inside your head. So, relating this to acoustic spaces, in this acoustic space, it is consistent. If you were in this room, as I've just said, everyone will hear the pitch the same way, because this acoustic space isn't changing. As soon as you put the sound in your ear and in your head, this is now where the sound is originating. Your skull is your acoustic space. And guess what? Everyone's skull is different. If you look different to me, your skull is going to be a different shape. What happens when you put sound waves into different shapes? You get resonant frequencies. And you could compare this to a sound-treated room. Somebody's got a perfect skull and there are no resonant frequencies in there, so they get to hear the pitch all perfectly and fine and nothing's going wrong. You can have somebody else's skull that has particular frequencies and pitches that sound different because they resonate in a different way. So again, this is because the sound is happening in their ears. Taking this now one stage further, this now brings into the argument that everybody, if they're using headphones or in-ear monitors, can potentially hear frequencies differently to another person who's listening to exactly the same instrumentation or song, but they might hear it differently. So anyway, I know when we're talking about live performance, we've got fluctuations in volumes as well. It's not like somebody listening to a song at a comfortable level. You've now got potentially either a really loud voice or really loud instrumentation, and it's all happening inside your ear. So just to bring on screen quickly, even though you can watch my first video to hear when I take the instrumentation down and what Doja Cat's voice then sounds like, but you can see this consistent flat placing of the vocal throughout the whole performance. But when you adjust the instrumentation, then it now makes more sense. So anyway, yeah, getting into this in a deeper level, we can start to relate this to live performances you might have seen, where somebody is singing. And the first example of this I'm going to give is somebody singing with in-ear monitors. And you can see the singer might be having a problem, and they unhook one of their in-ear monitors to get the sound they've got reverberating and resonating in their head out of their head. The reason they take that out, more often than not, it's going to be a singer who's doing this. They take it out so that they can hear their voice through the foldback, the speaker, the monitor at the front of the stage, because that is going to travel through air in the acoustic space and give them a truer representation of pitch, because that's how the ears work. And generally, their vocal will improve from being quite pitchy to now being more accurate, because they can hear the audio the way that they've learned to hear and we've learned to hear over millions of years. So that's the one example. Right, let's look at the other example. You might have seen somebody who's singing who doesn't have in-ear monitors put their finger in their ear. Why do they do that? Because they want to hear the resonance of their voice in their head. And you can do this. You can sing or just talk and put both of your fingers in your ears, and you'll be able to hear straight away. Everything goes away apart from the voice you can now hear inside your resonance chamber, inside your skull. So when a vocalist can't hear their voice clearly, that's what they do. And that proves the point that your voice is resonating in your head. So now let's take this as an example again of using in-ear monitors with instrumentation. You're adding all of that to this voice that you've already got in your head, and it might be the case that the instrumentation is so loud you can't even hear the voice in your head. So you've got no reference point of where you are. So again, there are loads of things that could be potential reasons for this happening, but I think personally, and again, this is an opinion on what I'm looking at and what I've had happen before, and I've said this before, I've been in the studio where I've recorded a vocal with headphones on and it's been consistently flat, and I've had to re-record the whole song with one ear off, and now I'm exactly where I need to be pitch-wise. What's happened in those two takes? Have I suddenly lost the ability to sing in the first take? No, but my resonance chamber my skull was giving me a false representation of pitch. It's taking off the ear so that now, even with headphones on, which will play, and you'll be able to now hear the sound of the instrumentation that you're singing along with, you will hear it close to your ear, but in the acoustic space in which you're standing. So that's why you get a truer representation of pitch, because you're now hearing the sound waves in this space, even though it might be quiet coming out of your headphones. So I know that it happens because I've experienced it, and I know why it happens. So to address those people who in the comment section have said, oh, I've sung for years, or I've been a producer for X amount of years and worked in studios and all this kind of stuff. And they say, and I personally have never experienced. I mean, some guys and girls in studios will have experienced this, and they'll now know why it happened because of kind of what I'm explaining, the way that sound works, and or more importantly, how we perceive sound, how we hear sound, because sound works in one way, in exactly the same way people have said, oh no, the pitch can't change. And yeah, I didn't say that in my first video. The pitch didn't change, but the perception of the pitch did change. And some people might say, oh, I've been singing for years and I've never had that happen. Well, guess what? It's probably because your skull is in such a shape that you don't get any clashes or resonant frequencies. And I think, again, you've got to maybe have worked in a studio or done a lot of recording or mixing maybe or mastering to know what resonant frequencies do. You can have a bass line that might go dum da dum dum, and there's a pitch, and it actually more goes. It kind of starts sounding like that, where there's a frequency that is resonating, and it'll grab hold of things in your room, and everything will be clear apart from that one frequency at 164 hertz, for example. Down there in that bass frequency. So you might get that happening in the mix. The person who is doing the mixing at home, they might take that way down in the mix, but they don't understand that. No, you don't need to do that. You're hearing resonance. That's not volume. So anyway, moving on. Don't want to get too complicated with it, but knowing that happens, then maybe people will understand and appreciate that. Imagine having that in your head, that somebody has a skull that makes a particular frequency resonate so that they can't really place that anymore. And yeah, when you put into that equation as well the mix of maybe being too loud instrumentally, not being able to hear your voice, I think in this particular case, Doja Cat has just sung where she's just had to trust where she's hearing it, and she's hearing it in a different place because of that unique equation. Just as a final thing, when that has happened to me in the past, I changed my live setup so that I have my in-ear monitors with only my voice, so that I can hear my voice clearly. Now, what I'm hearing in the performance are through the monitor speakers. So I'm hearing the instrumentation as it's coming out of the speakers through the air into my ears, even though I've got in-ear monitors on. So it means that I can adjust my vocal so that I can hear it always just perfectly above, because it's independent of the instrumentation coming out of the monitor speakers, because I've got control of my voice in my wireless pack. So it means that I can adjust my vocal, and I know by doing it that way, I'm going to get the closest representation to pitch naturally that I can do, because I'm hearing it come through the air. The sound waves are coming to me. I'm not hearing them inside my head with my vocal. So, I mean, that might be something to try if you struggle with this and you really struggle to place pitch. Maybe take the mix out of your ears and only have your voice, because if you're playing at big venues and the foldback speakers are loud, then you will be able to hear that instrumentation, and you can say to the sound guys, the guy at the mixing desk, you can say, I don't want any of my voice coming back through the monitors, I just want to hear, and you might want to have the bass a little bit louder, or the guitars, or piano. And of course, piano will be A440, standard pitch equal temperament. So that's going to give you these lines. I guess I just happen to have one of those heads that is a funny shape or a different shape, so that I get things that don't sound actually as they are. So I'm hearing it differently. So anyway, it's something to try if you do struggle with it. For me, yeah, I don't think Doja Cat suddenly lost the ability to sing. It was just something about having all of that noise resonating inside your head. So there we go. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and hopefully it makes sense this time. And again, it's just my opinion of what I think is happening, because I've experienced it personally. But anyway, as always, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and keep those suggestions and requests coming for future videos there as well. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!